I don't know what I did with. I put the lighter in there someplace. I tucked it. That's my problem. Let's gather, family. Can I say Ankh Ma'at to you all? Ankh Ma'at to all of you watching on Facebook and YouTube. The Shrine of Ma'at is gathering for its summer solstice celebration. And I have to say to you, as we gather, that obviously we do this on the solstices and the equinoxes, regardless of what is happening. Because about an hour ago, the sky opened up, did it not? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when we are actually ready to have our ceremony, it seems like it is giving us a bit of respite. So, I will say to you, there's a reason why we did it today. Someone said to me, if it's going to rain, why not just do it the next day? Tomorrow's not the solstice. And I know that may not mean a lot to some people. It may not mean a lot to some people, but for those practitioners of these ancient African traditions, it means something to us. We remember the traditions of our ancient Africans. We remember those days that they thought were important. We celebrate on them. We remember those individuals that they paid homage to. We pour libation for them. It doesn't matter what else is going on in New York City and Manhattan. We remember. And so I want to welcome you all to the summer solstice celebration. And as we begin, let us begin with purification. So, and after purification, we'll do the opening of the way, right? I know someone said, we're not going to do the opening of the way first. We're still coming to the opening of the way. So please stand in the position of adoration. And then you're going to clasp your hands over your arm, over your heart, left over right. And for those of you at home, you may not be here at the Tech-In, but you should be doing this too. This ain't theater, okay? Let us begin.
I got another light in for me.
So as we do purification, as we prepare for this next portion of the year, the portion in which we enter, we actually will be able to enjoy the sun. You know, we're the sun people, right? This is the time when we see people we ain't seen since last summer. So we're entering this period, and I want you to think about the things that you are discarding from the last period as you prepare for this period. And you can feel free to chant the words Om as we purify you with frankincense and myrrh and with the waters of the Hapi. Let's begin. Take your breath.
Pick up on each other's.
Let's go a little higher. So we have planted the word of divine life on this day that celebrates life. With that, you know that before we begin anything of importance, we do the opening. The opening way that was brought to us by our shrine elder, the keeper of the Shrine of Ptah, Baba Heru Ankh Ra Samad Satan. I know he may be watching where he is. We're just going to give him some Ankhs and Myrrh. Our elder is still swinging, and that's why we are able to still walk the walk. So we say walk.
Wow.
Wow. So can I ask, perhaps maybe a member of the Windward wants to lead us in the opening of the way. We have two members of the Windward. You should know. Those of you at home, we have two priests that are here. We have Abu Ahmed and Abu Kefra. You can both do it.
Yeah, both do it.
Well, we'll have lots of that. Do we want to have a Sanet join someone? She's like, how did I get volunteered for this?
This is our inside joke.
Uh-oh.
You know.
Uh-oh.
You know I'm ask. She can ask me to do anything that I'm doing. Which one are we doing?
We're going to start north because we're starting with Nazi. And we're going to go left. Okay.
We'll explain to everyone. We are making alterations to the opening of the way to make sure we're facing the proper direction of the Mesu Heru. So then we're going to start in the north and we're going to go left. I know we usually go right, but we're switching it up. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that before we start.
And for those of you at home, we do the opening of the way in two ways in the Shrine of Bond. We do the opening of the way in the manner that our elder brought it forth. Sometimes we call it Wat-er, the way of the elder. And then we also do it in, let's say, a revised way, the way that the Mesu Heru are ordered. So, let us Netrok. New.
And then try copy.
New.
New copy. Swallow and turn.
Netrok circuit.
A Netrok circuit.
New circuit.
New circuit.
And Netrok capsule.
And then try capsule.
New capsule.
New capsule.
To walk in there.
Swallow and turn. And then try us. New us. And then try concepts. New concepts. Swallow and turn.
And Netrok meat.
And Netrok meat.
Nuke.
Nuke meat.
And Netrok Guamuta.
And
And Netrok Guamutek.
Nuke Guamuta.
Nuke Guamutek.
To walk in there.
Swallow and turn.
And then
Netrok
try
news.
Nuke news.
And Netrok get.
Nuke get. Swallow and turn.
And Netrok shoot.
And then
Netrok
try
shoot.
shoot.
Shoot. Shoot. Shoot.
Nuke shoot. And then
And
try
Netrok
tap
news.
news.
Tap news. Tap news.
Tap
Tap
news.
news. Tap news.
Tap news.
Swallow and turn. And
And
Netrok
try
pause.
pose into the room. Pose.
New pause.
Into the room. And then
And
try
Netrok
and boo into the room. Nuke and boo into the room. Swallow and turn.
Dwa, 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 dwa. We're going to figure it out. I know that's relatively new. I know we were kind of like, you can't do the octave. You can't do the octave law? You got to do it from here.
That's what I'm saying. I'm listening.
No? You're supposed to hold it and let it resonate. I remember chanting after my first fast, when I was first initiated. And when we chanted I had felt a vibration at the top of my head that I'd never felt before. In fact, while it was exhilarating, at one point I actually got a little scared. I was like, what's happening? Am I going to pass out? You know how Baba always says that we have calcified pineal glands? Well, clearly that fast removed the calcification. So there's a way to do the We'll talk much more about it. Because if you do it in a certain way, it will actually draw energy all the way from below straight to above. It'll resonate. And you'll also, all the other ankhs. That's why he keeps saying, in harmony, all the other ankhs will resonate as well. Because when I stopped, my mind was still resonating because it was vibrating. That's where we'll go. So I just want to welcome you all once again to our summer solstice celebration. It is wonderful to be here with you. And I'm going to say that I am so honored that Tef Newt and Newt are allowing us to stand here without umbrellas. Because you may not be able to see it at home, but I am wet. I'm wet. So, as we stand here on the day that celebrates the movements of Ra from our vantage point on Earth, recognize that what we normally see on this day is that the sun stays still. You know what we're saying, Solstice. The sun stays still for about 3 days. And then it moves again. In many ways, it's a reminder of the everlasting nature of our soul. The everlasting, eternal nature of our Ka and our Ba. On this day, when we see divine resurrection in the heavens, we must remind ourselves that we can resurrect here. The very concept of resurrection is a fundamental concept all throughout the world, but it was brought to the world by our ancestors. And so when we gather here on this summer solstice, we say we will continue to teach it to the world because we remember. This is a critical. I'm hoping that all of you have some things that you would like to discard. Some things that you have recognized you should actually leave in the period that we are leaving. I'm not going to ask you to say it in public, put y'all on blast on Facebook and YouTube. Some of y'all at home just can yell it out because, you know, your spouses, your wives, they already know. Your husbands, they know what you need to leave. You could just yell it out at home. But for these folks, I'm not going to. Just know that this is a time for us to remember that just as the heavens, just as New, just as Ra moved, so should we. This is the time for us to die to those things that we have not restored, and to live in divine life. To Sirut Ma'at. Please say that with me. Sirut Ma'at. You know that at each of the solstices and the equinoxes, I always say, this is the day to Sirut Ma'at. If there are people who haven't heard from you for literally 3 months, this is the time to say, I need to Sirut Ma'at. If there are people who you think might be cross with you, might be vexed with you, even if you might not be wrong, this is the time to Sirut Ma'at. Remember, our tradition says what about the tear? In the 42 it says, I have not caused one to shed a tear. It didn't say, they was wrong, I told them they was wrong and they cried. It says, I have not caused one to shed a tear. They might be shedding tears, and you might be right. You still need to restore Ma'at. That is a higher moral code than any other that has come after it all throughout the world. So today is the day to restore Ma'at. Today is the day that somebody might get a strange phone call. Today is the day that someone might get a strange text, a strange email. But please remember, this is our way. We're not just supposed to look beautiful carrying arms. We're supposed to remind ourselves that our traditions buoy us. Our traditions burnish us. Our traditions allow us to be who we must be because we are the ones that our ancestors proclaimed would arrive. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. It is time.
When we talk about Saruj Ma'at, we're not just talking about with each other, but also within ourselves. Right now, I know a lot of people are ailing. We're still trying to overcome this virus that has been rampant throughout our community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that we do the things that are necessary to purge what's causing this virus in our system. It means that you have to start thinking about what are you putting into your system? What are you eating? What are you doing to try to avoid hurting others that are near you? Are you protecting yourselves? Are you protecting others and making sure that they're okay? We have to protect our elderly. Many of us right now are being selfish, thinking, well, we're young enough to recover from this virus. But we're not thinking about those who are not as well conditioned as we are, well equipped as we are. We're not thinking about those who have weaker immune systems. So what can we do to help make sure that they are safe? And those are some of the things we need to start thinking about within ourselves. We have to stop only focusing on what our needs are individually. What are the needs of our community? What are the needs of our family? How do we not be selfish? And I think a lot of what's happening today is that people are being very selfish in so many different ways. So this day is a day for you to think, well, what am I doing for someone else? How can I be selfless? What have I done today? And if I haven't been sick, what can I do tomorrow? Because you always have the next day to make up what you haven't done for today. We talk about the rising and the setting of the sun, birth and death. Every day is a new day for you to be able to Saruj Ma'at within yourself, within your family, within your friends, your community.
And so we're hoping that you have prepared yourself to Saruj Ma'at. That you've prepared yourself to live in divine balance. That you've prepared yourself to assist others. Because the call to higher consciousness, as Anika has said, is not just about ourselves. That is actually living as a spiritual infant. Right? I'm hungry, feed me. But if you are going to be one of the ascended ones, if you are going to be one of the golden souls, if you are going to actually pay for the space you're taking up, the oxygen that you're using on this plane, we must remember what we must do for others. And so we hope that you're prepared to do that on this day. For a moment, I would like for you to think of 7 things that you're going to leave behind. And in a moment, we're going to leave you in a little bit of a walk around the Tekken. Yes, folks, you can't see the Tekken, but we are here at the Tekken. We are here at the monument that was brought against its will. Actually, you can't really read its ancient language anymore, other than to read the English, but it's still standing in its dusty self upright. Am I talking about the Tekken or am I talking about us? Maybe both. Maybe both. So as you think of those 7 things, what I want you to do is follow me in a journey around, a circuit around the Tekken, back to the altar where you're going to leave it. Leave those things in the spring. It's time for you to enter the summer. That's what we're doing here. How many do you think you have your 7? I'm not going to ask you what they are. That's between you and Rob, right? Did you have your 7? Do you have 7 left? You were cleaning. Listen, That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yes.
Going into the season. Yeah. Leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. This is also a good time as with regard to cleaning. This is also a time that, you know, we talk about spring cleaning. You late if you ain't done it yet.
Right.
Time to also clean our spaces, to organize our spaces, so we can move powerfully into this next year.
We shouldn't just wait for one season to do it.
That's right.
Every season, we should
That's
be
right.
trying to purge and purify and
Yeah.
make sure that our spaces are whole, that our spaces are sanctified, that they are areas that we want to be in. Many of us don't have spaces that we want to be in because they're cluttered, they might be small, they might be full of people you don't want them to be filled with.
She's talking to somebody on that. Not us, not us, not us.
So you have to purify everything and everyone
Oh.
that's going to be in your space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that keeps hitting me. My friend of mine, her name is Kimberly McCrae, also known as Redefining Freedom. She's a spoken word artist. Her caption in her text message is, "Your piece is important, protect it." So when y'all were talking about Saruja Ma'at with yourself in that aspect, and that kept hitting,
That's right.
and as y'all talking,
That's
it
right.
keeps hitting, your piece is important,
That's right.
protect it.
Yes.
And what does that mean for you? And start to identify that in
That's
real
right.
time.
That's right. That's right. And this is the time to prepare for it. Right. This is the time to prepare for it. So I'm hoping you have your 7 items. Anyone want to share any of them? You don't have to.
Things we need to
You don't
discard.
have to. If you want to discard.
I
The
think
reason
life
why I'm
discarded
asking
it for
is
me.
sometimes proclaiming it helps you discard it.
Indecisiveness.
Yes. Indecisiveness.
Nice.
By the way, he was very decisive when he said that. Did you see that? He's discarding it. He's discarding it. Yes, Queen?
Hi, friend. Thank you for having me. Appreciate being with
Come
you.
in the circle, by the way.
I think I want to. It's crazy, but I just had something happen before I get here. But I think I want to discard
Can you hear us now? Hopefully you can. It literally said your browser has lost connection to your mic. Hopefully you can hear us now. Please let us know if you can hear us. Oh, you hear it. Okay, good.
Okay, so we're back online. Thank you. Wow. All right. So we talked about fear. We want to release fear. So many of us are afraid to do things, afraid to move forward, afraid what's going to happen if I do this. But if you don't try it, you never know what's going to happen. So why not just give it a chance? Nothing can happen unless you do something, right? Would you rather be stagnant? I don't think so. How about insecurity? There's so many people out here who are insecure, and their insecurity affects other people. Prevents others from being able to get to where they need to go. Prevents growth that people need.
Yeah.
Right?
Anger.
Anger.
Not talking about righteous indignation. Because sometimes you should feel a certain way, right? I'm talking about anger.
Yeah.
Right?
Let that go. I've been angry about this.
Yeah. Anger.
We have to let it go.
Anger. Yeah, absolutely.
Poor eating habits.
That's on my list.
You were? Why you saying past this? What's going on? You're not sure anymore?
No, I do. I do it, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Or anything worth having.
The fruit sugars.
Anything worth doing is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, because the fruit sugar is just as bad as the other.
You can overdo it, yeah.
What else? I gave you a few things I know people have on their mind, things they're thinking about.
And you don't need to share it if you don't. Just know what it is, right? You should know what it is. I see looks on their faces. They're thinking some things. I saw that.
I'm going to say lack of movement. I don't get to move as much as I need to. Exercise. We need to exercise. We need to get out there and move our bodies.
I was thinking about honesty.
Honesty.
Like, a lot of people are not honest with themselves, and that's, to me, is like the root of the change. If you're not honest with yourselves about what you are and what not doing, you can't have a change. We're not going to get the change because you got to be honest with yourself first.
Right. So let's take our circuit. Can we do that? I want to play with you. That's what I was just thinking. But...
Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson. Uncle Johnson, 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 Uncle Johnson.
Life, strength, and hope. That's what we all need. That's what we're all striving for. But I'd like to add myrrh to that. We all need love, right? How are we loving ourselves? What are we doing for ourselves? How are we taking care of our inner temple? What are the things that we need to do in this new season? If you haven't been taking care of yourselves, now is the time to think about it. Not just physically, mentally. How are we adapting to this new world that we're living in right now? How is it affecting us mentally? We've been stripped away from our friends and family for a long time. People still afraid to go to events, to be in large groups, to be around others. And I know that has a huge effect on some people who are used to being with large amounts of family and friends. And that has a psychological toll on people. So how are we addressing that? What are you doing to help deal with your mental capacity? What are you doing to help with your spirit? Are you waking up every morning doing your 42 declarations? How do you purify yourself each day? I'm not just talking about showers and baths. I mean, that's a given. But what else are you doing to purify yourself each day? What rituals do you have that you do every day to honor the divine force? Or do you just get up, eat a Big Mac or whatever, and go to work? What are you doing to honor your ancestors? What are you doing to honor your spirit? What are you doing to honor all those who came before you? These are all things we need to think about and make sure that we're doing what we need to do. Where are your altars? Are we actually using them the way they're supposed to be used? Or are they just tables that are collecting dust with items on there that we like? An altar is supposed to alter your situation. Ooh. That's what it is. I snatched that from him. That got by him. I like it. But we have to do work. Your altar is about work. Everything is about trying to galvanize the energy around you. Be able to be better, to do better, to think better. You're supposed to be thinking every day, how can I be a better human being? How can I be a better spiritual person or individual? How can I be a better mate, a better family member, a better friend, a better worker? You have to challenge yourself. Life is not supposed to be. People expect it to be. People say, oh, life is not fair. Life is supposed to be challenging. Anything worth having is a challenge. It doesn't come easy. So if you're looking for easy, you're not going to get what you really want.
So, we're not playing with Newt and Tefnut much longer. I think that we should just close with Hesi. Can I ask Abu Kepra, one of the leads of our Hesi team, if there's a Hesi that he would like to lead us in?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the Asar Hesi.
Okay.
Because you had talked about, I want to make sure they hear me too.
Yes.
Sometimes they don't hear me, so I want them to hear.
Right.
Abnetta Jabari was talking about the Asar Hesi. About Asar, in terms of the divine self that we all have, that eternal nature that is, it's eternal. Your eternal, your divine Ka, your Ba. So, our thing is growing in our divine self and resurrecting that Asarian nature that is in us to become Asar, to raise that higher self. So I want to do the Asar Hesi, very beautiful Hesi. I believe Jabari and Nika put it together. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right now by myself, then we all can join in. Okay. And the Hesi goes, Iau, 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 Asar Neferu. Iau, 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 Asar Neferu. Disa Neferu. Disa Neferu. Disa Neferu. Asar, 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 Asar. Give me a little more. Iau, 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 Asar neferu. Iau, 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 asa neferu. Iau, 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 asa neferu. Isa neferu. Isa neferu. Asa, 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 asa. Dwa, 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 dwa. And I want to say one more thing too.
Yes.
Hesi, it's an important part to see if you can include it in your spiritual practice.
Yes.
Anika was talking about things to do to ground yourself.
Mm.
Hesi is a wonderful way to ground yourself in your divinity.
Mm.
A wonderful way to find grounding and find peace in a chaotic world. And your Hesi, you can do your Hesi anywhere. You can do your Hesi on the bus. You can do it on the train. You can do it wherever you're at. So call forth the Heka'u, those words of power that our ancestors left for us, and rely on that Hesi to buoy you as we go through this journey. And I say tua'u neter, all of you. Tua'u.
For those of you who don't know the words, you want to tell us the words?
Yes, that would be good to do.
Yeah, tell us the words, just so in case folks don't know.
And excuse me for that.
That's okay.
So when we said Iau, Asa Neferu, we're saying praise, praise, praise. Asa, the most perfect. Dee Sa Neteru, give me divine wisdom. And then Asar, 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 the great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we say and what we had just said when we did this Hesi. And I just want to say it again, really claim their divinity, because that's who we are. We're divine. Our essence is divine. And like Anika was saying, all these spiritual practices and different things that we do that to really get attached to our divinity, who we
That's
are.
Right.
And I want to say this one thing too. When we talk about the 42 laws of Ma'at, and Tepi Anika has said, Uncle Jasanet Myrrh. Myrrh is so important. Love is so important. We need love in our communities because we have so much violence in our communities.
Yes.
A brother will pick up a gun in a minute and shoot another brother over some,
Trivial.
and I can't curse,
Trivial.
but over something that's very trivial.
Yeah.
So many lives are lost. Mass shootings.
Yeah.
Crimes amongst us, like I said, in our communities. We've got to get a better way. Like Marvin Gaye was saying, what's going on?
Right.
What's going on? Let's look at ourselves and look at them in the mirror and really establish Ma'at in our hearts, our thoughts, words, and deeds, and spread this message of Ma'at in our communities so that they can be healing brought to our communities. Babies being murdered.
Yeah.
Innocent children.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got
Complete
to do better.
respect. Yeah.
We got to do better.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we pray and like Jabari said, we pray and we do our meditations and different things, but we have to be active in the communities too.
Yes.
We've got to be active in our communities
Yes.
and take a stand against this violence and all these things that are going on.
Yeah.
Grab up our children and wean them to grow up to be strong men and strong women. Grounded in Ma'at. Relationships based in Ma'at. Relationships based in love amongst us as brothers and sisters, because we have so much healing to do. So
that's right.
I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that piece, because it's so important.
That didn't come from me.
Yeah, so
Yes.
but it's so important for us to do that.
Yes. Dua, dua, dua.
Dua. Much more
Dua,
dua.
dua, dua, dua. And we had exactly the right time. So can I say to you, go and spread Ma'at. Think Ma'at. Be Ma'at. And we'll see you soon. All right. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Let's not get completely wet.
So much that we discussed. Do you have one of the you have one of your pamphlets for the shrine?
I saw that Kepler had one.
Kepler. Did I have that pamphlet from the shrine?
Jimmy with that. Travel safely. I didn't even recognize your voice. I was like, somebody said Jimmy in the chat. I didn't get to meet you. Coming in here, being all wet. Go safely. Now you're in Jersey too, right?
Yeah.
You got a little bit of a trip.
Yeah.
Please get there safely.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Please don't. It's still be right for a little bit longer. It's the summer
I mean, like, yo, I had to explain. I had to explain that to somebody. I said, okay, well, you got a phone number. I'm already seeing your number because your name's not in my phone. So I'm like, what y'all doing?
So I had got a dozen. I gave a six. But I'll go back when I go back down and see if out there and get some more start collecting. So I go down there. Okay. And I'll basically start collecting them. But that could be an idea. We just test everybody at the door.
Shrine members, please make sure you're talking to the folks that are relatively new. I think you're doing it organically, right? Make sure you're connecting with them so they know what's going on in the shrine.
I'll be in the shrine in Ghana.
Please speak to our sister.
I'm going to the shrine in Ghana.
I stop. If it's not black, I'm not doing it. I'm always on the side. The only thing I want to
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's owned by a Nigerian. And then you got fan base. That's a black-owned business too.
Oh, that was their.
I've been looked at in New World. That's owned by a sister, and she also owns her own cryptocurrency. She owns the cryptocurrency. She owns the digital wallet and the platform, which are all wallet.
It's over there a little bit.
I'm not. I can't know.
I mean, I can't.
I was supposed to go out of school. Yeah. I think I'm about to make this motion. I'm like, oh my God. And it's not, while it's like low rent. I'm like reinventing my whole self. So I'm sitting there like, it ain't 7 things I gotta get rid of. They all got rid of themselves. It's thousands. Everything down there. What is it? Job loss. It was the best thing that could have ever happened because 2 weeks later now it's like I want some more.
I just murder our members.
So it's like, okay, so the Black Owned Cafe. So I'm like,